Hi there, Huey. How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. I'm getting a bit excited for Christmas.
Yeah, me too. I have a 4-year-old son who's just starting to get it.
Ah.
So I took him to Santa recently. He was asking Santa for something, and Santa gave him something different. And he's like, what's this? And he's like, well, no, this is a gift to take you to Christmas.
Oh, I think it's the best time.
We're at our country house for the duration, so we're looking forward to it. We got it all decked out and stuff.
Oh, lovely. Well, it's my last day at work today, so you're a treat for me.
Oh, good to you. That's nice. Thank you for that.
No problem.
My local lumbar, we never get far riding around in a stolen police car. So we dropped it off and piled in the caddy. Steve was driving because I had to talk to my man.
You're celebrating your 20th anniversary, and by celebrating, you're actually re-releasing your 1996 album, Come Find Yourself. What was the inspiration behind this and the reason behind it?
Was the first record or doing a celebration?
The celebration, obviously. What made you want to re-release the album?
Well, I mean, obviously it wasn't for money. We sold 10 million of those things, so we're pretty good at that. But it was mostly because the fans got in touch with us over the last couple of years and were really interested in kind of celebrating the idea that something that they really held in high regard and really loved is that old and kind of has been with them for 2 decades, and as a musician you have to be humbled by something like that to the point where, and not false humility rather, but really think about it and go, wow, we've been part of many people's lives for 20 years, and it would be remiss of us not to celebrate that with the people, because once you make a record and you go through all the trials and tribulations of getting a record deal and producing a first record on a major label and having an idea of what you want to do, but not really an idea of the long run. Mm-hmm. When you look back on something like that, you really kind of compelled to actually get with the program and go, wow, you actually did do something that was pretty unique.
Yeah.
And, why not enjoy it and celebrate it with the people who love it?
No, I think it's a really lovely idea, and I think to celebrate it with a tour and singing all the songs live again, it's quite nostalgic for some people as well. So, it's...
Yeah, we're not really big on nostalgia, but we're really big on making an emotional connection with people. I think we always have been. Once this record came out and it started getting well received with listeners, I mean, I'm not really too sure how critics got with it, but apparently they did okay with it. I don't really read press and stuff, but it was something that, you can't just be flippant about making a connection with somebody and let alone millions of people around the world with something that was part of your heart and your mind for many, many years. Mm-hmm. It's something that, it's beyond the word nostalgia, I think, especially for people like us who didn't really get into this for celebrity or money. You know?
So it's for the love of it as well.
Well, yeah, I think anything that really means anything in my life, I've done for love, and that's kind of important. It's a way to look at things in general that kind of transcend a lot of the nonsense labels that we've been given to kind of explain things away. It's really simple, and I think that's why things last as long as they do.
Running around, robbing banks, so whacked up with stupid snacks. Running around, robbing banks.
Do you have a favourite track on the album?
Well, I answer that question often. I think the best way to kind of put that is, I have a track that, what's your favorite track of the record? That's my favorite track, because we're speaking right now, and that's what's important to me. As someone who created something, I might have created it for different reasons than you appreciate it for, but the fact that someone else outside my brain can kind of get with something that I created is flattering to the point of, being dumbfounded, because when you're a creative person, or you're just a person in general, and you come up with something that connects with somebody, be it, hello, how are you? I'm good, thank you for asking. Anything like that, even as trivial as that, can kind of make something a little bit more special. So I always think that the best way to answer that is saying, I do, but it's not important anymore. Because once you make a record, and, we've made a couple, is once you finish making it and it goes to print and people buy it, then it's no longer yours. It's no longer yours. Simple as that. It's the person who bought it, that enjoy it, that make it part of their lives. That's kind of a key word, enjoying yourself with music. Because to enjoy yourself, you have to kind of incorporate it into your lexicon.
Yeah. I mean, I can completely relate to that. Obviously, I run the magazine. I think it's really refreshing to speak to a musician who feels like that, and it's not about more than, you know, like the money side of things, and it, you know, you really can tell that you have a passion for what you do, and it's really nice to hear.
You know, it's interesting that you say that, because we're really kind of in the same boat where, you know, you do what you do for love. I don't think you did it because you wanted to be famous or make money. You did it because you were compelled to do something different.
Yeah.
And reach people and bring a message that was a little bit different from everything else you saw or heard.
Of course.
And I think that's kind of key right there. I mean, to do something that we did when we did it was very unique, but we didn't think about it that much when we did it, because it was just kind of how we were as people.
Yeah.
And even with your publication, I think what you're doing is very unique, because it's coming directly from you, and you're every person is different. Everybody has a different perspective on life, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of, when someone picks up your magazine or listens to one of our records, it shifts from what we thought it was to something that it is with somebody else.
Barry White saved my life, and if Barry White saved your life or got you back with your ex-wife, sing Barry White, Barry White, Barry White.
How would you deal with any negative aspects from that? Obviously, when you love something so much, it's very hard to not take things personally and remove yourself, because...
Well, I think the key thing about that is you did the best you can. I did the best I could in that period of time back, 5 days in 1996 when we tracked the record.
Yeah.
But we had a whole life experience and our heart and soul into something. So even if someone can pick it apart and say bad things about it, first of all, don't listen to it, because I never really paid attention to press, good or bad.
Yeah,
because what I did, I thought came from the right place, and that means more to me than what someone can say they would have done better given a circumstance that's different from mine.
Speaking of love, I hear you're a keen guitar player. When did you start playing?
Well, I started playing when I was about 9 or 10, and I just was listening to stuff that was in my neighborhood, and it's a good place to start, because that's how I kind of got the idea of being very inclusive with my inspiration, be it music or social things that went on in my neighborhood, or just everything, really. And it was one of those things where I grew up, there was so much different culturally diverse music and speech and, just life in my neighborhood, that I was, at an early age, accepting of everything. And I think if you're going to be creative, it's really good to have that kind of mindset, that ethos, if you want. Because, when I started playing guitar, I was listening to all types of different music, and it all kind of, in my mind, moved together into this single state of consciousness that made me be the person I am. And therefore, you could be a musician, because it's an instrument of your expression, can be a little bit unique with that different kind of influence. And when we first came out with this record, especially in the UK, which is kind of unique, where there's just a lot of Britpop, and then there was our record. Yeah. And we were in the charts for over a year with this record. And that wasn't something that was really that crazy back 20 years ago, but now there's so much of a rapid turnover, because people aren't getting emotionally invested in things for lots of reasons. But I think paramount to that is when you do something that's very, very different, you kind of expose yourself to a lot of different people who feel very, very different about their role in society. And people gravitated towards this record because it wasn't easily explained, like anybody's life isn't easily explained in 250 words or whatever.
Now I was watching Banachek, my mind's eye, right back when I was seed and learning about life. At night it came together, it gave me sight. He said it's better doing this than sucking on the pipe.
I often ask this question to a lot of the people that I speak to, but Van Halen famously requested a bowl of M&Ms with all of the brown ones taken out as part of their rider. Obviously, you're going on...
Do you know why they did that?
I don't know why they did that.
Well, I mean, it was kind of funny. I remember I was talking to David Lee Roth about that about 15 years ago, and the story goes is that they got really famous very quickly after they got their record deal,
Right.
and they were opening up for like Black Sabbath and bands like that, and all of a sudden they were asked what their rider should be, and essentially all these guys wanted was like a bottle of Jack Daniels and like 50 beers,
Yeah.
and they were like, okay, we got that. What else? And they were like, some cigarettes. Like, cool. What else? And you're given this kind of open check,
Mm-hmm.
And I've been in that position too, where people are like, what do you want in your rider? I'm like, I don't know, 5 beers. Like, and what else? Like, I don't know, sandwich. And what else? So you keep giving this kind of like open check, and they just got to the point where like, peanut M&Ms or whatever, peanut M&Ms with the brown ones, take it out, just to kind of just end the conversation,
Yeah.
And they eventually, the promoters went and did that because that they thought was something that the band really, really needed to have a good show. It was like the band just wanted to get off the telephone.
So my question was, obviously, I'm really pleased you're aware of that story because that's obviously answered a few questions I had. But who in the band has made the most outrageous request, or are you kind of just nice, down-to-earth guys?
Well, I mean, that goes again to that same little story. The reason I was talking to David Lee Roth about that is because it kind of happened to us one time. We got to the point where we had like I think we had about 50 beers, a couple bottles of liquor, and it was, what else? And we were like, cigarettes? Like, yeah, sure. What else? And we were like, half a case of champagne. What kind? Beau Clicquot. Okay. What else? And so we got to the point where it was like an open check.
Yeah.
And I was talking to the tour manager one day, and he was like, we leave this dressing room and there's all this shit left behind. And we ended up taking it, and all the tech guys are walking out with bottles of liquor and champagne and beers. And I was like, that's good. He's like, why is that? I go, because they're happy. So I guess the craziest thing we've ever done was ask our technicians really what they want.
Yeah.
Because we can only do so much damage to ourselves and our brains in the span of a couple hours. So it ends up turning into like what do our guys want? Because we're all family. That's what we always look at. We all hang out in the same dressing room. There's no crew allowed or anything like that. We all hang out together. We've been doing this a long time, and we kind of set it up as a family business. So
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
It gets to the point where I think one of our techs wanted some kind of like banana daiquiri mix or something like that. So we got that.
And learning about life. At night it came together, it gave me sight. He said it's better doing this than sucking on the pipe. Now when she came over, she brought the discus.
So speaking of tours, your UK tour starts in February, and you'll be in Norwich, which isn't actually far from us here at Bounce headquarters. What's like your most favourite thing about being on tour? What are you looking forward to the most?
Well, I'll tell you, when I played Norwich last time, it was kind of funny because I had my house in London. I had to be there for something, and I had a gig that night. And I got on the train to go up to Norwich, and it was a really fun time because I was on the train, and there were a bunch of people that were on the train going up to see the gig, and they were looking at me on the train, and eventually one lady said to me, she's like, "Are you?" I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Are you going to?" I was like, "I'm going up to the gig at Norwich." She's like, "So are we." And they just couldn't believe that a guy would be on a train going to a gig while they were on a train going to a gig. And I was like, you got to understand, there's nothing really separating us from this gig other than I have some guitars waiting for me when I get there. And, we shared a cab to the
That's
UAE.
awesome. Really cool.
And we get to the gig, and I'm walking in the front door with these people who have tickets and stuff. And the security guys and the door people are like, "Hey, you should be going through the back entrance. It's safe." I go, "Wait a minute, it's not safe. I just spent the last 2 hours with these people. They're my friends, We're cool." And they couldn't get their head around it. And I thought that was kind of funny because we've always, as people, we always didn't think there was a class system with band and crew or band and audience. We're all in this boat together as people, right?
Yeah.
And that was one of the things why I didn't really sign up for all this celebrity nonsense, because once you do that, you separate yourself from the people that are most important to you.
Yeah, of course. Do you ever get bored of being on the road, or do you have moments where you think, I'd just like to be at home?
Well, yeah, I mean, I have a family and stuff. I mean, I like being at home.
Yeah.
I also really love playing with my band. These guys are some of the best musicians I've ever met in my life, if not the best. And it's something I was given a gift that I was able to play music for a living,
Yeah.
And, it was very, very good to me. So I love playing. I never get bored because I think if you're bored, you're not thinking enough.
Also, we're quite close here to the Latitude Festival. I just wondered, like, what did you think about it as a festival in itself?
Well, I love Latitude. I think Latitude's a great festival. I think we might be playing it this year. I was talking to Merv about it, and he was like, yeah, you should play. I was like, okay. Our 20th anniversary coming up. So, hey, from your lips to God's ears, maybe we'll see your friend there again.
Definitely. Well, we're in attendance every year covering the festival, so I'm really hoping that that's true and we get to come and see you next year.
Me too, and if so, we'll do another interview then.
That would be great. Yeah, my younger brother is in a band. He's a musician, and he played Latitude for the first time last year. So it was a really big deal for a young person who's sort of trying to make their way up. So I think the festival is great because you can see anyone, such as obviously fun-loving criminals, to the local people. I wish you and your family a wonderful Christmas, and I hope you get some time off to really enjoy it with them. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you today.
Mine as well. Thank you very much, Rachel. Have a good day.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Alrighty.
Bye.
Bye now.